I've been reading a book called Differentiate or Die by Jack Trout, a management consultant, and he's basically saying if dentists want to survive in the future, they better get into other areas besides just filling teeth, because there's a lot of dentists out there now, and there's less cavities because oral hygiene is better, and plus the mothers will really pay for ortho. You built your entire lab, your entire business on general dentists doing orthodontics. And so, you know, I urge them to deal with your lab, but that's an interesting book. And my next article that I write for the Foran Report is going to be Differentiate or Die. Like 70% of children have a malocclusion. So if you're not treating children now, and you're waiting till the orthodontist does it, or waiting till the orthodontist decides to do it after age 12 or 13, I think you're missing the boat, and you're not helping the kids develop. So there's a birthday cake. Start at age 7. You can start earlier than 7, but certainly 6 or 7 is a good age to start. And we're going to be showing some functional appliances today in mixed dentition: posterior cross bites, deep overbites, anterior cross bites, open bites, tongue thrusts. Those are all the things you can do. Highly recommend the beginners, and even people who have been doing this for a while, buy this book by Dr. Lawson. Dr. Kent Lawson, orthodontist, friend of mine, lectured with me 2 years ago in Vegas. Book title is Straight Talk About Crooked Teeth. And my consultant told me, Scott Manning, who I work with, he told me to give the patients a gift when they come in. This mother has 6 children. So I gave her that book, and now 4 kids are in treatment. The other 2 are too young. So she was very impressed with the book. But give the patients a gift. Don't give them a toothbrush, give them a gift. So why not give them a book on orthodontics and early treatment? And that book is it. I would recommend you buy that book, get your staff to read it, and give copies to your patients. So here's a guy, he let me show his pictures in my course, so I gave him some money. So he looks pretty happy. And this girl, I gave her some money too. Looks like I give away a lot of money. I forget, every time I show a patient in my courses, I give them a little treat. So now this is my reception room, and you can see that I got a bunch of kids there playing games. So I've got 2 Game Boys right at the front of my office, and there they are. There's a lot of kids there. Just think, 5,000 a patient. That's not a bad afternoon, right? Obviously, it takes me 2 years to get the money, but there's a lot of kids in your practice, children that need treatment. And so they're just playing those games and having a great time. So if you don't have any Game Boys, you better put them in your waiting room, and you better encourage those kids to go on, and they take turns. They got it all figured out. The oldest guy there is making them take turns. Here's the thing, first thing you got to think about. First thing you got to think about is if you've got a constricted upper arch, and there's no room for lateral incisors, by not extracting the primary canines, you need to expand the arch. So there's a finished case at the bottom, and you can see a lot better arch, a lot more room for teeth, a lot nicer smile. The thing that we've been doing together, Zach, for years is taking patients like the one on the left that have retrognathicc underdeveloped mandibles and moving them forward like the patient on the right without surgery, using functional appliances like a twin block or a MARA. And so these patients all have their jaws move forward in 7 to 9 months. Tremendous changes in the profile. And what I didn't realize, Zach, and probably you didn't either 25 or 30 years ago, when we bring the jaw forward, we're also helping the temporomandibular joint. We thought we were just making the patient look better, but now they're feeling better because they're getting rid of their headaches and neck aches and back aches. It's phenomenal. But look at the changes in those girls just by wearing one of your appliances, Zach. So, I mean, they really work.
Yeah.
So in North America, fixed braces, permanent dentition. That's pretty well what the majority of the orthodontists are doing in North America. Not all. I know you have some clients, Zach, that are orthodontists that are treating early, and they're probably going to have the busiest practices. Because why would you give up on the children when you can have them in your practice for functional appliances when they're developing and then put fixed braces on later? So in North America, I think crooked teeth, because of constricted arches, extraction of bicuspids, maybe, I don't know if it's 40 to 60%, but it's a higher percentage than it is in South America. South America and Europe, they don't take out nearly as many teeth, and they develop the arches and do non-extraction. And that's what my patients want, and that's what your patients want. Incidentally, this webinar is going to be on SML Space Maintainer's website. So you can watch it with your staff. You can watch it at a later date if you want. Look at that smile of William Kate. Obviously, Kate has a beautiful smile. William's smile, you can see there's dark corners at the side of his mouth. Again, I like that patients want a broad smile. They want to see teeth right to the corner of their mouth. And so the only way you can do that is not with braces, but using one of the functional appliances that you get with Space Maintainer. There's Jennifer. Beautiful. No, that's not Jennifer. That's, yeah, that's Jennifer. Is that Jennifer? Anyway, here she is. Beautiful. Here's one of my patients. Here's one of my patients. Okay? And look at the difference in the smile. Now, that's one of your appliances, Zach. And we put a Hyrex appliance in there and expanded her like 10 millimeters. And she was about 15 when I did her. And she's absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, and she's going to get married soon. And you can see her wedding pictures are going to be a lot nicer looking with that smile. Yes. Are we off? Is something wrong?
No.
You can still hear me? Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good, okay. So here's Joshua, first patient, okay? Age 6, no problem. No room for laterals. So everybody make a note of that. If there's no room for the permanent lateral incisors, there's always room for the centrals. No room for the permanent lateral incisors and the primary cuspids are still in, you need to expand. So this patient doesn't have room for permanent laterals on the top or the bottom. Okay? So we have to expand that arch. If you don't expand that arch, the laterals may come in lingually, and then the cuspids may come in buccally, which you don't want. So put in a little Schwartz appliance. You've made thousands of these, Zach. Little Schwartz appliance, two clasps on each side, one midline screw. They take the appliance out, turn the screw twice a week, really easy. And you know, in about 4 or 5 months, you've got a beautiful broad arch, no discomfort. You turn it 1/4 millimeter each turn, 2 millimeters a month it expands, no discomfort, no pain, very physiologic, and now we have room for the lateral incisors. They wear it all the time. They take it out to clean it, they take it out for active sports, they adjust the midline screw twice a week, every Wednesday and Saturday, each turns 1/4 millimeter. You get these sample appliances from Space Maintainers, and they have different colors they can show, and all the children want different colors, different designs. And they send you a key with each appliance, and just put the key in and turn it towards the arrow. There's no arrow in that one, it must be on the other side. But that's the difference. So he's 6 years old. Now in the photo in the lower part, he's probably about 8 years old. But look, he's got a beautiful broad arch. He's got room for all his incisors now. There's no crowding. He actually never came back for treatment. So the mother paid me probably $1,500 for phase 1 and never came back for phase 2. That was a tremendous saving for that patient. And why not treat them when they're 6 or 7? And why do you try to put braces on somebody 14 years old when they're not very good cooperators? There's the lower, and you can see there's no room for the permanent lateral incisors. So we're going to expand the lower also. So there's the lower Schwartz appliance. And the bottom picture, you can see it's open 4 millimeters. And so we're just expanding the lower. Okay? So now the lower arch is expanding. The dogs are even listening. Okay, that's good.
It's on mute, right?
So now we're expanding the lower arch. And you can see we're going to make room for the permanent lateral incisors. Now you see in the bottom picture, there's room for all 4 incisors with the primary canine still intact. That's very important. Don't extract the primary canines. Leave the primary canines in and develop the arch. Now you can see in the picture, there's a lot more room for the tongue. The patient can speak better. And you're making room for all the teeth. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you put appliance in that the patient turns twice a week and make room for all the teeth? Why would you wait until they come in crooked? And the advantages are you're going to expand the upper arch and improve nasal breathing. You're making more room for the permanent teeth and no extraction. You're giving the patient a beautiful broad smile like I showed you. Easier to speak. I mean, there's no disadvantage for doing this. They do it all over Europe. They do it all over South America. Zach, you've got thousands of clients, thousands of general dentists doing this, and some orthodontists doing it, and more orthodontists every day. Because the orthodontists are starting to realize that why wouldn't you do this? Some of the orthodontists were trained in North America, so they have to take training like I did. I had to learn how to use functionals. I was extracting bicuspids and putting headgear on 40 years ago, just like everybody. But I had to change, and thank heavens for space maintainers and other speakers putting on courses. I mean, I probably took some courses from some of your lectures way back when, Zach.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing this a long time.
Long time.
And you've stuck with it. And your lab is now one of the largest in the country, specializing in orthodontics. I mean, you're one of the best. You tell me you're the best. Well, you must be the best then, you know. So no room for laterals, and you can see the laterals are in. Okay? Straight teeth. So here the patient now might be around 8 or 9. But look, all the incisors are in. Patient looks great. Beautiful broad smile with 2 simple little appliances. I guess I charged the patient somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. Probably by the time I did the records and the appliances, it would be $2,000. Zach, what's the lab fee for a Schwartz appliance? $130 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's right around there, $130.
Yeah, so like this tremendous profit for the dentist. Like if you charge me $130 for the upper and maybe $100 for the lower, I mean that's 1/10 of the fee, you know. And the patient does all the work. They turn the screws. I'm not even there. They come in once a month. I check them, make sure the screws are okay. They're open. There's no sore spots. The appliance is fitting, and off they go. I mean, this is the way to do it. Dr. Bubon is an orthodontist friend of mine from Wisconsin, and he sees over 100 patients a day. Functional appliances, a lot easier than braces. So the general dentists who are interested in this should start with functional appliances for children, then learn about braces to do on easy cases. But start with the functionals, they're easy. Here's a little guy who's 5, but his mother told me he would not wear a removable appliance. And you can see he's got no room for his centrals on the top or his laterals. So you know it's just an accident waiting to happen. So we decided to go with a fixed appliance. Again, Space Maintainers makes this. This is a transverse appliance. It's a fixed expander, and the coil spring is right on that force module in the middle, and it just expands. I'll show you. So it starts out, you measure that, and it's about 4 millimeters. So you watch. It's cemented in. You can't take it out. It's fixed, guaranteed to work. And then you can see the diagram down below, the photo down below, he's now open 8. Okay, so hopefully there's going to be room now for the centrals and lateral incisors. And I don't have to do anything with this thing. Just put it in and see them every month. It opens about 1 millimeter a month. I mean, what could be simpler? The mother doesn't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. And yet the child's arch is expanding, making room for all the teeth. I mean, it's just, and you can see the buccal crust height on the upper, so we also have to do the lower. But because it's only 5, I start with the upper appliance first to get them used to it, and then we do the lower. Okay, so constricted arch. You can see the upper is getting much wider now, making room for all the permanent teeth. And then I decided to put the lower one in. Okay, after a couple of months, when he's used to the upper, he's only 5 years old. He says he's doing great. Okay, let's put the lower one in. See if we can expand that one. So now we're expanding upper and lowers. And you can see he can bite his teeth together. You can see, look like he's biting that wire there. I'd have to cut that off, I guess. But the arches are expanded. I mean, there's room for all the permanent incisors now. I mean, how easy is that? And the mothers are very appreciative. I can't remember, Zach, the last time I talked to a mother about early treatment to avoid future problems later and future expense later, that they said, no, let's wait till 13, till it's a big problem. They just don't do that. And you guys are the big thing. One of the main things I like about your lab is the hand holding you give beginners. Someone starting out in this, they can send you the CEF, they can send you the models, they can send you their diagnosis, and you can help them and guide them. And that's where everybody wins. And not all labs have someone of your abilities down there, because you have so many people down there that are knowledgeable to help you extend us. And I guess you're one of the main guys. Okay, look at the difference. Look at the crowding on the photo in the upper left, and how the lateral incisor is rotated, the other lateral is deciduous. And look at the bottom now. Now see, there's a little bit of redness when it comes out, but that'll clear up in 2 days with salt water rinses. But look at the beautiful broad arch we have. And again, I keep harping on the fact the patient can talk better now, because there's more room for the tongue. Again, look at that. I think this is the last picture I have. I think he moved away, but you can see there's room for that lateral that hasn't erupted yet. So this is the first picture, he's probably 5, and now he's probably 7. But what an easy way to do it, and they pay you to do this. The mother's so appreciative. He might never need ortho. He might never need ortho. Look, I took him from 4 millimeters to 10. So we opened him 6 millimeters. And what a difference. And so easy. There's no adjusting. Nobody has to do anything. Just have to make sure that it stays in. And it works every time. And that looks like expanded more than 10 millimeters. So that's great. So it's just, if you have a poor cooperator, and you have a number of fixed appliances as space maintainers you can use. And I'll show you a couple of them. And you can call Zach and ask him what he thinks. But certainly when you take our course, we'll show you all the different appliances, and Zach will be at the course. He'll be at the course demonstrating how to expand the appliances, how to adjust the appliances, the rule appliances. He's a big help. So if you want more information on the courses, just go to rondoseminars.com, and you can see information on all the courses. Recommend for the early treatment that you take the beginning introductory course, which is, here I was over in Turkey. I was over in Turkey lecturing a couple of years ago. That was before all the problems started. I don't know if I want to go just yet. I mean, I loved it, but boy, they're having their problems over there now, unfortunately. 2 orthodontists took my course. I want to show you this because when you take my course, you get a certificate from the International Association for Orthodontics. You have to pass 4 tests. You have to bend. You have to do 12 lab exercises. Bend wires, trace shafts, all kinds of different exercises. Put brackets on teeth, adjust appliances, the whole deal. But it's a certificate from an organization that's been around for over 60 years, dedicated for general dentists to take orthodontic courses, and they certify all my courses. And it's just nice to have that certificate to put up on the wall. So here's a guy that's particularly excited, Zach. I've never seen anybody this excited to get a certificate, but I guess when you're from the United States or Canada and you give them something, they really appreciate it. But he earned it. So that's our course, Zach, we're doing together. We started in October 13th and 14th, and again, you can go online and look at the course schedule. So I guess the fee is $39.80 for 8 days. That's 8 days. Well, that's pretty reasonable, I think, and you save $300 if you sign up in advance, I guess. So that's good. Okay, and there's 4 manuals. And Zach, you know those manuals are the best you've ever seen, right?
Yes, that is a true statement. We use those all the time.
So there's 4 manuals. Each one is about 250 pages. I can pretty well guarantee if you read all those manuals and you really study them, and you have Zach as your backup, you're going to be fine. But you need that backup. You need a lab that knows the appliances. You need a lab that has done this for 30 years. And it could be a huge help to you.
Well, that's how you've always stood out, Dr. Rondo, is your course notes, have never been matched by any other, seminar series that we've supported. That's usually the lacking factor on most of these. They'll maybe print out just the slide presentation and give that to the attendees, but here you give them such valuable information, and that is the standout factor with all of your seminars, and they can just be always referenced over and over again. So those are great, absolutely.
Well, we both want the same thing, Zach. We both want the dentist to do it. We both want them to do it right. So anyway, now here's another case that's really easy. You can see she's got a little anterior crossbite in the front. Okay, so there she is, an anterior crossbite. Now you're going to let her, she's 8 years old. She's 8 years old. You want her to go around with that crossbite till she's 13, or you want to fix it? I mean, the mother will pay you to fix it, and it's going to benefit her daughter tremendously. We have to put a little spring and move that tooth forward. Now we have to open the bite, so we'll put some acrylic pads. So we'll ask Zach, take a bite, construction bite, with polyvinyl siloxane, and send that upper model, lower model, and the bite registry to Zach, and he will send you back this appliance. And the bite is open now. We'll be able to move that tooth out of crossbite. The posterior pads are about 2 millimeters thick, and we go 1 screw. Just 1 screw to move that tooth forward. It's a 4 millimeter screw. And some of the screws are 8, but that one's 4. And after 2 months, it's out of crossbite. But look at that patient after a couple of months. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable how easy it is. Look at the bone at the top. It looks like someone took a hammer and just hammered the bone. And down below, it's completely reformed because you've reduced the traumatic occlusion on the tooth. I mean, so Zach, some of these cases are in my course manuals, so they can follow them step by step by step. So when I show a case, I don't give them a printout. I give them the actual manual with colored pictures with a description of each step. So it really makes it easier for them. So, because we want them to do it. I mean, our principal job is to get them to do it and do it well. So I must recommend that if you're going to do this, you probably could do this tomorrow based on what I've shown you. But I'd recommend you take full records on each patient to make sure you do a complete diagnosis, because if you don't have full records and the patient transfers to someone else who's not liking you doing ortho, they can make trouble for you. They really need to learn to take records, and that's another thing I like about the course act. We have a chart that's 12 pages long, and we take cephalometric x-rays, and you trace them for us, and everyone makes a complete diagnosis, and our dentists are protected. So there's her smile. I mean, it's got a weak smile over there, and down below it's got a broad smile. Just one simple little appliance with one screw you turn twice a week. It was fixed in 2 months. It was 2 months. So she paid me $1,500, okay, which the mother is happy to do, okay, and $500 for the record, which is $2,000. And then she came back when she was 12 years old, okay, and here she is at 12 with crowded teeth. And then, of course, I know how to put braces on, and you're going to learn how to put braces on in the course. And if you take my course, you'll learn how to put the brackets on. And so we line the teeth up, and there she's all done. So obviously it took about a year to straighten those teeth, but they're beautiful and straight. Mother's happy. And she's coming back to me for phase 2 because I give her the discount on phase 1. And then, Zach, you always make one of these lingo bond retainers you can see in the lower photo to make sure that the teeth don't move. Okay, so up above, anterior crossbite, down below, finish case. And beautiful smile. See the weak smile when she started because she's self-conscious about her smile, and down below she can hardly wait to show those teeth off. So remember, for phase 1, records not included, okay, I charge you phase 1 was $1,500. My ortho fee was $6,500. I take the $1,500 off $6,500, and I charge you $5,000 for braces for 12 months. That's $1,000 a month. That's not bad. I can tell you, when I was I'm still a general dentist, okay? I'm still a general dentist. My practice is ortho, TMD, and sleep. But I had to work a lot harder as a general dentist, you know, working on teeth than I did doing ortho, because the staff do a lot of the work. We have 6 dental chairs, and most days they're full. And so I have staff doing a lot of the work. But I see every patient and tell them what I want them to do. So we really do spend a lot of time training your staff in the course, because that's how they're going to make a lot of money, Zach. You know, the ones that have trained their staff and got the staff doing the records and putting wires in and doing some of the ortho are the ones that make most money and the most successful. So this little guy, the photos are a little bit fuzzy. I apologize for that. But look at, he's 5 years old with an anterior open by the 7th. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave that? I can tell you, his tongue's going between his teeth 2,000 times a day, and that is never going to close unless we use an appliance. So Zach has got an appliance that will do that, and it's a tongue crib. They put a tongue crib on an appliance, and it's a fixed appliance, and it looks tough, but they tolerate it quite nicely, and they can't put their tongue forward. That tongue crib stops it, and we have a Hyrex screw, which we turn slowly and expand the arch, and we stop the habit. And you'll see those teeth will erupt on their own with the tongue crib in there. And here's what happens. Teeth come right down. No braces. This patient never had braces. The teeth just erupt when you take out the tongue thrust habit. You have to leave the tongue thrust, the crib on for 5 months. Doesn't take, that took 5 months for that to come down. Now, he was 5 years old on the left, and he's 8 years old on the right, but those teeth came down, and then I took a picture a couple of years later, and that's what he looks like, to show that it didn't relapse. See, the tongue crib stopped the habit, so it didn't relapse. And again, I charged him $450 for records and $1,500 for the appliance. The mother paid me $1,950, and he came back when he was 12. So here he is back in my office at 12. And he said to me, the mother said, "Does he need braces?" And my reaction was, "How much money do you have?" You probably could put braces on for about 6 months and be slightly better. But if you have 5 kids and he doesn't need it, I mean, he's not bad. He's got a little space in the lateral. That's it. But everything else is perfect. So remember, we expanded his upper arch. The lower arch must have gone with it, and we stopped the habit. So for under $2,000, he got fixed. This is a huge advantage to mothers to send their kids to you to be treated early. So again, here he is at 5. And here he is at 12. I mean, not bad. You have to give proper function. So the first thing we teach in the course is establish proper function. Get rid of the tongue thrust. Get rid of the thumb sucking. Get rid of the TMJ problems. Get rid of the airway and breathing problems, which we don't have time to talk about much today. I'm writing a book, Zach, as you know. So when I get the book written, I will make it available to all your dentists for a reasonable price. Reasonable price. Okay. So anterior open bite. Yeah, I just, it's only the last couple of months I started to do it, but I didn't tell everybody because they want to know when I'm going to finish, but it's about halfway done.
Great.
So it's going to have a lot of pictures. Maybe some of these same cases will be in it. Okay, it's going to be something you can show mothers and dentists who are just starting out that, look, here's how these appliances work. And maybe dentists have been doing it for a while too. It doesn't need phase 2, didn't need braces. I mean, that's a huge advantage. I mean, if you had a child and you could fix them at age 5 and 6 and 7, why wouldn't you do it? Okay, so here's another open bite case. So here's a patient. You can see this patient has got the open bite and no room for the laterals. Look at the small space between the cuspid and the central incisor. There's no way a lateral incisor is going to fit in there. So we need to expand him and expand her upper and lower. What's the cause of the anterior open bite? It's an anterior tongue thrust, right? Tongue's going between the teeth 2,000 times a day and opening that bite. We must stop the habit, or you'll never get those teeth to touch. So again, no room for the laterals at all. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's no room. So you know, we've all been in practice long enough to know if there's no room for the laterals, they usually come in the lingual. And then it's a much bigger problem, because now they're lingually displaced, and you got to open the bite and move them labially. And plus you have to make room for them. And you don't want to extract teeth. Do not extract the teeth. Use the functional appliances. And the bottom, we need to expand that also. No room for the lateral incisor there also. So we use the same appliance. This is an appliance with a tongue crib. Okay? We're going to turn that screw. Now it's kind of tough. We got to instruct the mother carefully how to turn that twice a week. And expand the upper arch, and they're going to put the lower one and expand the lower arch in a little while. Let's stop the habit first. Look at how those teeth are up. Look at how those teeth, the bite closed in 2 months. No tongue between the teeth. The teeth just keep erupting. And then we'll keep expanding upper and lower arches to make room for the lateral side. But those cribs, they look tough, but they really work. Now, the crib stays on for 5 months. Now we're going to just expand. Okay, so the crib stays on for 5 months. Now we've got a midline screw, and we're opening 6 millimeters. Now we're open about 10 or 11 millimeters. This is a big one, but we needed it. Look at the size of those laterals and cuspid centrals. You need that much space, and that's not too much. Now we're going to put the posterior separators in, and we're going to place the bands on the lower. We obviously give you instructions on how to do this in the course. And then I just want to show you a bunch of cases to show you, see if you want to do this, see if you want to help these patients, and see how easy it is. So again, put the Hyrex in the lower and turn it twice a week. Look at how much is open. Look at now the room for all the incisors. And that's painless. It's painless. Doesn't hurt. Because you're turning it so slowly, 1/4 of a millimeter every turn, which is really not much. And you see the upper and lower arch are expanded, and the laterals are coming in now. They're coming in the upper and the lower. And there she is. So all they did was put that appliance in with the crib, expand the upper, expand the lower, and she looks fantastic. No more constricted arch, no more narrow smile, no more need to extract teeth. Try to not extract permanent teeth. Tell the mother, we're trying not to extract permanent teeth. We're trying to make room in the arches. The arches are too small. The arches are pathological. We're going to make them the normal size, and then all the teeth will fit. So again, looks good. Now, many times the mother will say, I would like some braces on these teeth. Okay, they're a little crooked. Yes, I like the fact it made room for all the teeth, but you know what? Could we put some braces on to straighten the teeth? So in 2 months, the teeth are straight. Look at the slide, look at the photo on the upper left. Look at the photo on the lower right. The teeth are straight in 2 months. I mean, these wires are just like magic. So she's been expanded upper, expanded lower, habit stop, braces on the top teeth to make her happy. Now mother's happy. That's so easy. And I charge her $3,000. And if she needs braces, remember, I'll take the $3,000 off the $6,500. Okay? But sometimes they don't come back for braces because they've done such a good job with the appliances, stopping the habit, expanding the arches, making room for the front teeth. Many times the back teeth come in fine. Okay, so there she was constricted, and here she is now. Now you leave the Hyrax in for 6 months after the last turn. That's very important. Remember that. So after the last expansion on the upper or the lower, you leave the Hyrax in for 6 months or you'll get a relapse. And then take it out. That's quite a difference in the arches. I guess we didn't have to put brace on the lower. The expansion on the lower made the lower teeth straight. All we had to do was put brace on the upper. So frequently now we will say, if we will expand upper and lower arches, and then if you need braces, we'll put them on. And we charge a little extra for that. Okay? So most orthodontists are not treating children in the mixed incision. Therefore, this is an excellent opportunity for general dentists to help treat these patients and increase their income. And you know what else? And Zach, I know you've talked to a lot of dentists over the years. They have more fun doing ortho than they do fillings. Once you've done 10,000 fillings, Zach, you kind of lose interest. But this is fun because the patients appreciate it. The kids are a riot. The parents come in every month. They're happy with the results. They talk about you all over town. Your practice grows. I mean, that's all I do is this. But I phased out gradually. I'll tell the dentist, phase in gradually. Like, gradually give up some of the things you don't like doing in general dentistry. A lot of patients take our courses, Zach, are starting to do this more and more and more and bringing associates to do the things they don't want to do. So if you don't like doing dentures, bring in associates. If you don't like doing occlusal fillings, bring in associates. I mean, do the things that make you the most money and you have the most fun doing.
Right.
Okay. Now here's a little guy with headaches. Okay. Guys have headaches. Guys with deep bites have headaches. Well, look at him. He's got a deep overbite. Got deep overbite. He's 10 years old or whatever. He's 11 years old with headaches. Now, how many dentists sitting there tonight listening to me, or the daytime, it's daytime for you, know that a deep overbite can cause a headache? A lot of headaches are coming from deep bites, particularly females. Okay? So the mother's got a headache. Let's fix him. See his jaw's back a little bit. When your jaw's back, as you know, Zach, when you bring the jaw forward, you get rid of the headaches. So there's a recognator, which Face Maintainers makes very nicely. And you have 2 bands in the molars. You got a little inclined plane in the top, in the front, and you bring the jaw forward. So the jaw comes forward. The patient now has an overbite of 1 millimeter instead of an overbite of 6. And to support the bite, notice the composite buildup. Have to put composite buildups on the primary molar. Very important. Otherwise, he can't chew. If you just put the recognator in there and move the jaw forward and open the bite, you have to do the composite buildup. You look at the space between the molars, it's probably about 4 millimeters. Those molars will passively erupt in about 3 months. They'll be touching in 3 months. So what you're doing is establishing a new occlusal plane. The thing that's most exciting the mother is you got rid of the headaches. That should make you feel pretty good. When you go to the office and get a little guy who's 11 years old and headaches and gone to every medical doctor, chiropractor that you can think of, and everybody gives him pills and adjusts his neck, and you put a little appliance in and do the build-ups, he's done, he's got rid of headaches, you have a friend for life. The mother will be a friend for life. And that's all we did. We just moved the jaw forward 3 millimeters and opened the vertical. Headache's gone. Headache's gone. That's between those two pictures, about an hour. Took the Rickinator in, did the 4 build-ups, probably an hour, no more. And he just looks different. He looks more lively. And look at his face. Look at his profile. Look at his profile, how good he looks. He looks older. He looks 2 years older on the right, and he's only an hour older. You know, so you make them healthier and better looking when you use the functional appliances that you get with Zach. So you got a website too, Zach, with all the different appliances on it and everything, and you're just a wealth of information. I mean, you can ask him for information on all the different appliances. Maybe he'll borrow stuff from my course manual and send it to you. I don't care if he does that, because I want everybody to treat these children properly. And I just wish that it was being taught in all the ortho schools and the dental school. It's not being taught in the dental schools either. And I think it's just terrible when 70% of the children have a problem and very few dental schools and few ortho schools are doing it. Now, some are doing it. It's getting better. I know your lab is continuing to grow, Zach, and it'll continue to get even bigger when more and more dentists realize they got to get into this, because they just have to. So let's talk about class 2s. Okay, there's 2 philosophies. Retractive philosophy, where you do fixed braces, bicuspid extractions, and constricted arches, or functional appliances and bring the jaw forward and develop the arches. Broad smiles. Okay? Now, a lot of the malocclusions are class 2. Okay? A lot of malocclusions are class 2. So you have to learn to use a Rickinator and a twin block and a Mara. Those are the 3 main appliances. And of course, you make a ton of those, Zach. And so here's the class 2 skeletal with the maxilla in normal position and the mandible retrognathic. That's most cases. If you look carefully at your patients, you'll see in most cases, the lower jaw is back. Whenever you have an overjet, most times the lower jaw is deficient and needs to come forward. So you want to do this without surgery. Okay? I guess don't focus on the economy, focus on your economy. Concentrate on your office. Concentrate on how to make your office better. I'm taking my whole office down to see Scott Manning, who's a fantastic practice management consultant. We're going to take the whole office down and spend 2 days and really try to get pumped up and really try to get organized. And, you know, general dentists need to spend money on courses, and you need to spend money on practice management, because we have no business expenses. There's no course on business for us, Zach, as I'm sure there was no course for you when you went to university on business unless you were in business. And so we need to take those courses afterwards. And of course, you can help a lot of dentists because you've got a lot of stuff that can help them too. I recommend you get all your sample appliances from Zach. Don't tell a patient about a twin block or a Rickinator or a Schwartz appliance or a Hyrix with a screw unless you have appliance to show them. And get the color charts and show them the colors. The kids get all excited with the colors. So early orthodontic treatment, you're concentrating on your economy as far as I'm concerned. And build your practice this way. Offer non-extraction treatment and non-surgical treatment. That's what you're telling. That's music to the mother's ears. When they hear those 2 things, that's what they want. So here's a patient came in with headaches. So you can see I'm a lot younger looking there. And that was probably 20 years ago. And this little girl had major, major headaches. I put her in a twin block and got rid of the headaches right away. You bring the jaw forward, you bring the condyle down and forward, and that's where you want to be. I know some of you have been taught up and back, you know, to romance the jaw and move it up and back. Strongly recommend you don't do that. And if you come to my courses, I will show you x-rays and I'll show you all kinds of reasons why not to do it. Okay, again, the twin block, bring the jaw forward, looks great. Twin block, bring the jaw forward, looks great. That's the Rickinator case. Brought the jaw forward, looks great. Look at the crease under the lip on the lower left. And look at the crease on the lower right. Looks much better. And this girl looks much better. Look, we also increased her face height. When you erupt the posterior teeth, you increase the face height, the lower face height. She looks much better. She looks older on the left. And she's a year later on the right. And she just looks younger. So again, you know, talk to Zach, call my office, talk to me, and sign up for that course. And we can promise you, you'll You won't be disappointed. So money back guarantee. Money back guarantee. If you don't like the course, just phone me and you get your check back. I might ask you why you didn't like it, but you'll get the money back guaranteed. Okay, here's another little girl. Okay, she's 8 years old. You can see she doesn't look happy. She's got headaches. And she's got a deep overbite and an overjet. That's a slam dunk in my office. I would sit down with that mother and say, if I can't fix her headaches, I would probably do your treatment for free. I'm that confident that I can fix her headaches because I have to bring the jaw forward. When I bring the jaw forward, I bring the condyle down and forward. I haven't got time to show that today, but we show that in the course. We show how moving the jaw forward moves the condyle down and forward away from the nerves and blood vessels. It captures the anteriorly displaced disc, and we're in good shape. So mother brought her home from school due to headaches. How'd you like to have an 8-year-old girl being brought home from school due to headaches? I mean, that's pretty bad. So class 2 molar relationship, deep overbite, overjet, twin block. Okay? You've made thousands of that. You're one of the first labs in the country to bring, what's his name over?
Dr. Clark?
Dr. Clark. Brought Dr. Clark over probably 30 years ago and was lecturing, he was lecturing for your lab participants 30 years ago. And I've had him lecture with me. And he's a fantastic guy. Fife, Scotland. Well, again, daily headaches. Here's a little girl with daily headaches every day. And the doctor thought she had migraines. Medical doctors, here's the problem. Medical doctors get no training in TMJ. Dentists get no training in TMJ. So again, differentiate or die, get training in TMJ. Because Zach, the newest thing I'm doing too, I'm having in-office courses. Hands-on in-office course for dentists. Unfortunately, I can't do it for California dentists. But Zach, I'm seriously considering doing that in California, in a dental office, and we'll get your clients in there. You know, we only take 4 or 5, hands-on course. I can find somebody in California that's got a big office that really knows this stuff. We can have him be the mentor for 5 of your clients. And it's a phenomenal program. And I just can't tell you how well it's working in my office and how well progressing the dentists are. So we'll talk about that when I see you next. I'll call you about that sooner. Because we just decided to do that yesterday. This is new information. Okay. So there's the twin block. Bring the jaw forward. The blocks have to be 5 millimeters thick. I haven't really got time to go into a charge of 2,000. Okay, but look at that. Consult with mother. Extremely happy with treatment. No migraines, few headaches. The medical doctor wanted to put her on migraine medication. Unbelievable. Little girl, 8 years old, on migraine medication. When it wasn't a migraine, it's TMJ, temporomandibular joint dysfunction. Condyle too far back. So Zach will make it the twin block. The interlock at 70 degrees, upper and lower. Move the mandible forward, no surgery. Okay? I mean, I know that some of you who are beginners looking at this will think that's quite a bulky, big appliance. Well, what's the option? The option is you got to put a midline screw in it. The option is you got to do surgery when you're 17. And they don't do surgery until you're also growing. So that little girl has to walk around with headaches from now until 17. And she has to walk around looking not that good with an undeveloped lower jaw. So there's the difference. So the jaw comes forward in 6 months, 7 months, she's forward. Now all we have to do is erupt those back teeth. So I put composite buildups on those primary molars and erupt that back molar and she'll be fine. And then hopefully all her teeth will come in nicely. But that's the alternative. You either put a twin block or a ricinator, or you wait till 17 do surgery, and then they have to have braces from 17 to 19. Nobody has ever said no to twin block when I give them the alternative. Nobody. Look at the change in her profile. Look at the change. Look at the change. Look how nice she looks down below. No crease under the lower lip. Straight profile, not retrognathic. Okay? And look at the smile. That's why you want to do this, okay? You want to do this not just for the money. Okay? You're going to make money doing ortho, for sure. Because there's a demand for ortho. Okay? So Napoleon Hill wrote a book. He was a billionaire in the 30s, I think. He wrote a book, if you want to be rich, find out what people want and give it to them. Well, Space Maintainer is a very successful lab because they found out that people want functional appliances. Now, the other thing is I've heard that functional appliances don't work. I had a dentist tell me they went to an orthodontic meeting one time and they were told functionals don't work. Kind of wonder why Zach has been in business since, what, 1957 or something? Or what was it?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
1957.
Like, if they didn't work, would he still be in business? I mean, they make
We still get asked that question all the time.
And thousands of functional appliances. So no dentist, they do one and it wouldn't work and they wouldn't do it again and you'd be bankrupt. But no, you've got clients doing hundreds and hundreds of appliances. And you know, that's what you want. I mean, get 50, 100 patients going a year. That's fine. Keep your general practice, get 50, 100 patients going a year. You'll get help from me, you'll get help from Zach. You've got great records. You're going to be helping kids. You're going to be creating beautiful smiles. And you're going to feel really good about your practice. And that's worth a lot. When people say thank you for getting rid of my daughter's headaches, thank you for making my daughter give her self-confidence by getting her jaw forward, I mean, it's worth a lot to you. And they're doing the work. She's wearing the appliance. All I have to do is take a proper bite registration, take good impressions, and motivate her to wear it. So the twin lock eliminated her headaches. She's a different girl. So I also have an online membership benefit where you can send me cases. I guess there's about 750 cases there. Space Maintainers also has the same service where you can send cases to them and they will have their experts look at them and they will give you their advice. And on my website, I also have 30 articles you can read. So, but I advise people at the beginning just to read the manuals. I mean, the manuals are 1,000 pages. I mean, so if you got 1,000 pages to read, you're going to be busy. But a lot of cases in there. So anyway, there's lots of help for you after the course is over if you stick with Space Maintainers and run with them. So that's our website. Somebody's submitting that case, and then they'll submit the Ceph measurements. You send all your Cephs to Zach, and they'll trace them with my Rondo system analysis. And then you put the case up, and I give you my advice, or you send the case to Zach, and he gives you his advice. Okay. So for more information, just call that number. But look at rondoseminars.com for any of the information you want. One last case for you. Okay. This is really a neat case. Okay. This little girl is 10 years old. Okay. She's got buck teeth. People are making fun of her. Oh, her name's Bucky Diva. All kinds of names. Not nice. She's got a very retrognathically underdeveloped lower jaw. Can you see the crease under the lower lip? Can you see how short her face height is? You know, like, it looks like her nose and her chin are almost touching. If you just showed me that face, I could tell you what I want to do. I haven't even looked inside the mouth. I want to bring her lower jaw forward, and I want to erupt her back teeth. Okay? So look at her. She's got a 10 millimeter overjet biting on the roof of her mouth. Now, anybody over age 11, Zach, we like to use a fixed appliance. We like to use a MARA appliance and not a removable appliance like a twin block. Okay, so there she is biting on the roof of her mouth. Okay? So we're going to put her in higher X first because when you bring the lower jaw forward, you have to expand the upper arch or you'll be in buccal crossbite. So we explain all this in the course. Okay, so you open her 6 millimeters. Okay, so that's the higher X first. Okay. Now we have to bring her lower jaw forward. The appliance I use, well, first of all, always have the patient move forward to ideal overjet, ideal overbite before the treatment starts to see what she looks like. So that's at the consultation appointment. She's moved her lower jaw forward so I can see what she looks like. Now that looks a lot better than she looks when she bites in centric occlusion. And then I have the mother stand to the side and look and ask the mother, which do you like the best? Well, of course, the mother likes the photo on the right. And then I take a photo, Zach, of the patient on the left and the right and show it to the patient because they don't know what their profile looks like. And you know what? The patient always picks the photo on the right. And then I say, if you stay the way you are, you'll be like you're on the left. If you wear this appliance I'm going to make for you, you'll be like you're on the right. And they say, where's the appliance? Let's get going. So I get samples from Zach of what a MARA appliance looks like. And I know there's a few different designs, Zach, that you've done recently You can close in that arm now. But this is one I got from you a long time ago. But this shows the parents what it's like. Now, it looks like quite a contraption, but, you know, it's better than surgery. Remember, her options are treat now at age 11 or go for surgery at 17. And, you know, there's a lot of risk with surgery. So the way it works, I know it looks like a big, bulky appliance to most of you listening, but there's an arm coming out from the bottom stainless steel crown, and there's an elbow in the top. And the elbow, when the patient tries to move their jaw back, when they try to move the lower jaw back, that arm hits the elbow and they can't go back. And we do it gradually, okay? We do it in increments. You can't move it all the way, 10 millimeters, but we do it slowly, okay? But anyway, that's the upper part, and that's the lower part, lingual arch. And there you can see the arm. There's the arm sticking out of the upper or the lower. And there's the arm, there's the buckle arms on the upper. But again, I'm going pretty fast because we only got a few minutes left. I just want to show you the end of this case. So during the course, there's articles on this on the website. We give you articles when you take the course, and we show you how to do that. And again, if you have any problems, you can just phone Space Maintainers. They make the appliances, and they can give you all kinds of advice. So here's after about 10 months, or about 7 months, jaws forward. Now we just have to get the lower teeth coming up to close that posterior open bite. We put that huge blue Bisville composite on there to support the jaw so she can chew. But she looks a lot better on the right than she does on the left. Now she's got a bit of a deep overbite. When we finish tomorrow, we're going to put a Ricanator in there. So we did the Ricanator earlier. Put the Ricanator in, open the bite. And they wear the Ricanator for 6 months. So they wear the Mara for about 7 to 9 months. And they wear the Ricanator, and they can wear the braces with the Ricanator. So what we do now is put braces on the lower, braces on the upper, and run hooks, and run vertical elastics to those hooks, and just erupt those teeth. So there she is finished. Obviously, I rushed that through, but we finished her probably about 9 months in the Mara, and then she might be 2 years in braces and erupting those teeth. But look at the beautiful result we got. I mean, teeth look fabulous. And look at the large overjet she has. Look at biting on the roof of her mouth. And now look, beautiful. Class 1 molar, class 1 cuspid, ideal overjet, ideal overbite. I could not have done that, you have to understand, with braces alone. Braces means orthodontics. Functional appliances, orthopedics, moving bone. I move the lower jaw forward. Okay? Beautiful results. Beautiful girl. Zach makes me lingual bond retainers so the teeth will not move. Put those on and just say they're on for 10 years. When they come back in 10 years, say it's another 10 years. Leave them on forever. The teeth will not move and they'll be very happy. And we get this QCM retainer from Space Maintainers, which is a clear labial bow, which patients love. If you haven't seen that retainer, don't use any more Holly retainers. Use this one. Okay, and there's her final profile, which looks a lot nicer, doesn't it? So she was 10 when we started her, maybe 13 when we finished her, and there she is with that profile. Looks much prettier. And look at that smile. Oh my God, that's just fantastic. Look at the smile on the top. And can you see the eyes? Look at the eyes of the smile on the top compared to the eyes of the smile on the bottom. They are different eyes. She is smiling, but she's not happy on the left side picture. But she's grinning from ear to ear on the right-hand picture. That makes you feel so good about what you do. Then she comes back 2 years later and says, guess what, I'm a model. Now, can you picture the patient on the left being a model? No. But once I fixed her, and remember we expanded her arch first with that Hyrex. We gave her a beautiful broad smile. Look at her now. This is my favorite picture all time. That is just a different person. This person here on the left is not the same person that this person here is. I can tell you that's a completely different person because we gave her a beautiful smile, brought her jaw forward, and made her look more gorgeous. There's just a big difference between those two. You know, I mean, that case, Zach, it just makes me so happy. And when she comes in and her mother, they're so happy that they came to me when they were 10 years old, because if they'd gone to an orthodontist or a general dentist that doesn't do functionals, they would have been told, come back when you're 13, all your permanent teeth are up. But they still would have said, well, now we have to take your teeth out, or we have to do surgery. And both of those would be incorrect treatment for her, in my opinion. So anyway, it looks like it's about 4 o'clock. So I'm going to finish with that slide probably. And I guess my course is also on the internet. So you can take this whole course on the internet, and it's $12.95 on the internet, all 8 days. The special price is $7.95, and that includes all the manuals. Okay, so if someone doesn't want to travel, say there's a mother with a bunch of kids, female dentists are pretty busy these days, they want to take the course online, they're welcome to. What they do, Zach, is they watch 20 minutes, and then they write a test, 10 questions. They have to get 80%. Everybody passes. And then when they get the 80%, then they go to the next session. So some people prefer it online, some people prefer it live. But I like them to come live, so they're going to meet you. So anyway, I guess that's probably it. Yeah, that's another case, but I think we're done. 4 o'clock, and look, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to some of your clients. And again, this is online. It'll be posted on Space Maintainer's website, and so you'll be able to watch it anytime. And what I recommend they do, Zach, is have a lunch and learn. They bring their staff in and say, look, I'm going to buy lunch. You're going to get a 1 hour of CE credits, and come on in and watch this and just see if we want to add this to our practice. It's really good if you can get the staff behind you, because if the staff are fired up, it's going to make it so much easier. Absolutely. Is there any questions we want to do, Zach? Are there any questions, or do we have time for the questions? Really, I got time for questions. You've got time for questions. Yeah,
we actually have a few questions here that are kind of common, and would like to get your take on it. Have about 5 of them here, and then we'll open it up to the audience if anybody has anything in particular. The first one is, how early can you begin treatment?
I think the earliest I start is age 4, but probably age 6 you get better cooperation. But you saw I showed you a couple of 5-year-olds. And so if they will cooperate, if you can take the records and the mother's motivated and the child's motivated, if you can't take the impressions, you can't take the x-rays, they're too young. But if they're good little kids and well managed, we can start them at 4 or 5. You know, but probably 6, 7 is an easier age to get more cooperation and more motivation.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. Another one we got here is, how do you prevent a relapse after expansion?
Okay, after you expand, after the last turn of the appliance, you have to hold for 6 months. And then after that, you can take it out, as long as there's no mouth breathing problem. And we didn't have time to talk about airways tonight, but in the course we cover tonsils and adenoids and nose problems and allergies and all the habits and all the things that are blocking the airway and all the things we've got to do working with ENT specialists. We tell you how to write letters to ENT specialists and get the tonsils and adenoids removed and how important it is, and give you sample letters and everything. But yeah, I would say as long as there's, you know, I think that's the answer.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. And speaking of tonsils, what effect do large tonsils have on treatment?
Well, I didn't show you any class 3s tonight. And what happens if you have large tonsils, it makes the tongue go forward and act like a functional appliance and bring the jaw forward. Well, you'd like to have large tonsils in class 2s because it'll bring the jaw forward, but you don't want large tonsils in class 3 because it'll make it worse. And I'll write the ENT a letter and say, if you don't get those tonsils out, he might need orthodontic surgery. So it's extremely important to understand the role of the airway, tonsils and adenoids, and nasal breathing and mouth breathing and habits and all these things. Mothers just eat up. They just can't believe that they've gone to a dentist and he's telling her things that will help the health and welfare of their kids, which is the #1 thing that mothers are worried about when their children are growing up.
Absolutely.
So tonsils need to come out. They need to come out.
And speaking of kind of in the same category of airways, why does arch expansion make nasal breathing better?
Well, the maxillary arch, right above the palate, is the nasal cavity. And the minute you open And the minute you expand the upper arch, patients all claim they can breathe better. So it's amazing. And what you're going to have to do is identify mouth breathing problems, and you got to fix it. You got to get rid of the mouth breathing and get patients nasal breathing. Patients get more oxygen, believe it or not, through their nose than their mouth. You would think with the mouth they get more oxygen. You get more oxygen. Actually, oxygen enters the system when you exhale, and the turbinate bones force the air into the lungs. So you need everybody to be nasal breathers. And we really stress this in the course. You've got lots of appliances that will help turn mouth breathers into nasal breathers and stop the habits. So, I mean, you do that every day. You need appliances for dentists all over the country every day that do those things to help the patients.
Absolutely. Okay. And another question is, what if your patients ask the receptionist, but I thought only orthodontists can do ortho? What do you guys say?
Well, I've instructed my staff on this. We just gave them a little test, actually, because I was worried. I just hired a new receptionist in 3 months, and I started asking her all these questions, and the answer is specialists are there for the difficult cases, but general dentists are legally allowed to do orthodontics. Their license says they can do orthodontics, root canals, crowns, bridges, everything, gum surgery, but then we do the easy cases. So hopefully, and we treat early. Some specialists don't treat early. Some dentists don't treat early. But our practice is geared for children to treat early and do simple straight braces cases. So we also charge less. Like the general dentist charges less than the specialist. So if you're lucky enough to be able to have an easy case or a child, we can do it. If it's a really tough case that needs extractions or surgery, we send out to the specialist. So that's the way our office operates. So you need to make sure your staff educates the mothers that are asking those questions, if they ask those questions. Most times they don't, but the orthodontists have done a pretty good job of making everybody aware that they're the only ones who do ortho. The endodontic specialists don't go around saying we're the only ones who do endo. The periodontists don't say we're the only ones who do perio. The prosthodontists don't say we're the only ones who do the crown. But the orthodontists have kind of got the word out that they are the ones doing ortho. And so but you've got thousands of clients that have been doing ortho for many, many years, and that's why your business is thriving. And so, but you do have to make sure your staff know what you're doing, your treatment philosophy, and that you're not doing all the cases. And, you know, in our courses, you and I both tell dentists when the case is too difficult, refer. Don't do difficult cases. Use your specialist to do the difficult cases. That's what they're there for. You know, but if the specialists in your area don't want to treat children, it's your chances of success are pretty high because there's no competition. You know, all you have to do is start learning how to do this and do it. And help as many kids as you can. Help as many children as you can.
And case selection is key, for sure, right?
Absolutely, and you help them with that, and so do I. We keep them away from difficult cases. We don't want anybody to worry about difficult cases. All easy cases. You know, I mean, 6 months smile. I mean, they're building their whole reputation on just straightening the 6 front teeth, right? Easy cases, right. Straighten the front teeth, straighten the social 6. I have some ideas that I don't think they're quite as thorough as we are, but I can't say that. But I mean, they're going after a segment of the population that just wants straight front teeth. Our course is a little more comprehensive, using all the functional appliances to treat class 2s and class 3s and class 1s. It's just different, you know, because I mean, you need, in my opinion, your opinion, you need more than just braces if you're going to treat comprehensively. So we teach braces and we also teach functional appliances, but you're a big help because you're at every course. You teach different functional appliances every course, and then they can rely on you when the course is over to hold their hand and guide them through and make sure they do easy cases and they're not going to get into trouble. And they're going to make money and they're going to have fun.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm just going to open it up. to the audience to a certain extent, those that I have control over. Does anybody have any specific questions for Dr. Rondeau? I've tried to unmute everybody possible.
They're all going for lunch.
I think so. I think so. Well,
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it says that this internet session is $9.95. Is it only one session for 1 hour?
No, that'd be a 2-day course.
It's
so $9.95 would be for session 1. Okay, session 1, each session is $9.95 for 14 hours.
Pay tuition. Tuition status.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
okay.
So this is for 14 hours. Is 14 hours are done in 14 session of 1 hour, or?
No. So what you do, you watch for 20 minutes, and you can shut it off and go do something else, and then come back to it. So you can have as long as you want. I think up to 3 months. You're allowed 3 months to watch those 14 hours, and do it on your own time. You also you'll also do lab exercises, and you'll submit them to us, and we'll check them off. We have had patients, Zach, we've had dentists take the online course and start cases. We think it's that clear, because I had it filmed in a commercial studio. It wasn't filmed live at my course. We did it in a studio with good lighting, and did it slowly and really well, I think. So I've had people tell me they like the online course better than the real course, even though it's both me. I mean, it's amazing, because they say they say sometimes in the course I tell too many jokes, or I get offline, get off topic. Plus, it's hard to listen to someone for an hour and a half. Whereas you can listen 20 minutes, go get a coffee, come back, watch another 20 minutes, watch it at night, watch it during the day, watch it whenever you want.
No,
you got 3 months.
Okay.
You got 3 months to watch 14 hours.
That's a nice option that you provide. Okay. That's really nice.
Dr. Randy, I have a quick question before you go. I have one patient, his lower arch, second molars are very much lingually placed, and upper arch is very wide on that second molar area. And I tried to put the lower expander, and I got from space maintenance laboratory, but it's not really working good, because the screw is in a way that once I activate, it has no flexibility to put it in. Is there any other way those lower second molar could be uprighted, because it's a full cross bite, like 100% cross bite on the second molar?
Well, it's hard back there, because you have to put an elastic. You could put a lingual button or a band on the second molar, but it's really hard way back there. And then you have to go from the lingual button or the band, like there's a cleat on the band or a lingual button, to the buckle on the upper. You have to use a cross elastic. Are you in braces? There's no braces, right? It's all the patient doesn't have the braces.
Yeah, it has braces, but I just order reverse short appliance for upper to close the upper molars back in position, and the lower molar I don't know how to expand the second molars. On the lingual button I placed is uncomfortable, cannot put the band, lingual cleat, and they keep breaking. So
you might have to leave it in crossbite. I mean, nobody's going to die with one molar at the back in crossbite. As long as the bite's okay and the rest of the teeth look good, nobody chews back there anyway. So I mean, if it's too difficult for them to put the elastic on, just tell them, look, I tried to fix it. You couldn't wear the elastic. It's going to be okay. You got the tooth way at the back. One crooked tooth at the back is not going to be a big deal. I would just say, look, forget it. I have left second molars in crossbite before. Everything else looks perfect. The patient does fine.
Okay. Great, doctor. Thank you. I attended your courses about 10 years ago when functional orthodontics was alive, and I always love your lectures. Thank you for coming up here.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and I appreciate the nice comments.
Yeah, absolutely, doctor. Thank you.
All right, Brock. I have somebody had mentioned I'm trying to understand the question from John. John, are you there? Can you hear in? Can you listen? I asked anybody if they had any questions just on a chat side. So I just don't understand the question. The question, it says control arch 040 to upright. I'm not too sure what that would mean.
Well, that's the controlled arch. That's a different technique. I don't teach that technique. But I think when that two's so much in crossbite, I think you need a cross elastic. You know, I don't think the controlled arch is going to do it. The controlled arch prevents you from having the two go that way. But if the two's already that way, then, because the controlled arch has a lower lingual arch. But putting a lower lingual arch is not going to upright that tooth. It's going to prevent it from uprighting. And that's not going to work.
Got it.